Now's the time.
Now is 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 the time.
Now's the time. Now's the time.
Now is the time.
If you take a map and draw a circle around the 1 mile radius of our church, what you find may surprise you. Over 70% of the homes in this area do not attend church regularly. Many have needs that go unmet. They struggle to pay bills, put food on the table, and may face life's challenges alone. This community needs our church, and our church needs them. As we continue to grow, we don't just need more space for our children and youth. We need more space to attract the families in our community. We want to invite and welcome new people, involve them in the life of our church, and actively serve the needs in our community. Our mission at First Rowlett United Methodist Church is to make disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world. We do that by living our life together, learning the faith together, and loving others through service. Our church was first built in 1895, and over the years has continued to grow and welcome more and more members. In 1996, the current sanctuary and surrounding classrooms were built. It's been 17 years since we have grown this space in this church. Now is the time to add more space for our children and our youth. Now is the time for the community to see what First Rowlett has to offer and to know in Jesus Christ. The Now is the Time campaign is all about strengthening our commitment to God. We want to live by committing to attending worship and joining a small group. We want to learn by increasing our teachings and our learnings. We want to love our neighbor. We want to pray, and we want to give by generously giving to the building campaign so that we can provide new and renovated space for our children and youth. Now is the time.
About 50 years ago, Mr. Joy C. Richards, who was one of my wonderful brother-in-laws, was superintendent of this church and played many other vital roles. Joy gave me this little cross one time, and that was when I was still wet behind the ears and wondering if really God was going to truly help me through life. And he said, keep this little cross in your pocket, and if you want to call on God to call on Him, just run your hand in your pocket and touch that little cross, and you'll know that He's here and He loves you. Also, at any times in trouble or whatever, if to face temptation, touch this little cross and it'll tell you where to go and what to reply. And I've learned that to be a great inspiration. And Joy was a wonderful man. He was our school superintendent, church superintendent at that time. Sometimes we only had a dozen people at church. And Joy would always believe and say that there was a great future, and I sort of doubted that, but I learned to, as we grew along, I've learned to believe in what Joy said, and I continued to touch my cross, and my faith grew. Since then, I have given this cross to a lot of small children and others, and I hope that I have done something good and I will bring somebody to Christ someday. And it has been an inspiration to me, and I'll tell you, I've had a lot of times in the last 2 or 3 years when I've had to do a lot of praying, and I know how powerful prayer is, and I know that God loves me, and I know He will answer your prayers if you just ask Him. And I do hope that anyone that I ever give one of these crosses to will learn to love God and to worship Him and do everything they can in their power to help Him in His kingdom.
The first time that I prayed out on the property, I knew that I was not the first one to do that. Generations of people have prayed on this land, on this holy ground, because they wanted there to be a church, always be a church in Rowlett, Texas. People that have gone before us have sacrificed and built for the next generation. And now it's our turn. We all love this church. And we want others to experience what we've experienced. A really wonderful, warm faith home, a place to raise our children and our grandchildren. Several people told me that when they first started to pray about their gift, that they would come up with a number. But after a few weeks and more prayer, God would give them a little bit bigger number and maybe show them ways that they could find places they could save so that they could afford to give more to the capital campaign. The same thing happened with me and my husband Deems. We started one place and God kept encouraging us to try a little bit more. I've been so impressed with the sacrificial gifts of the leaders of our church. The advanced commitments are far more than I could have ever dreamed of, ever imagined. But we're not there yet. We still have more money that we need to get in order to accomplish our goal. We need everybody to be involved in this campaign. There are only 7 more days to Commitment Sunday. What I'm asking everybody to do is pray. Be involved in this prayer week. Have a good conversation with God. Asking God, what would you have me do, Lord? And be faithful to that answer. Whatever it is, God will tell you what you can do and how much you can give. Respond faithfully. Whatever you can give, God will bless it, and it will be a blessing to others. Now is the time.
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 Now is the time.